questions. But why travel alone? But why did you leave your kid and husband behind? You could have brought your kid with you. How will your husband manage? I feel guilty leaving my kid behind. I don't know how you do it.
These and many inquiries came my way when I traveled this December 2023 to India for my niece's wedding. Some coming from a good place, some not, and some were just confessions and curiosity. Welcome to the fourth season of Women of Wayland podcast. I want to start this season by underscoring the significance of travel in our lives and also this category of storytelling. I don't know if you all remember our first travel story in season 2 was a trip to Himalayas. So, as we embark on season 4, let this travel story be a testament to the adventures that unfolds when a woman travels alone, whether in life or to a place, navigating through stereotypes, societal norms, and discovering the joy that comes with embracing the unknown. The stories I bring you this season will reflect these solo journeys women of Wayland have taken to bring a change for their families, for their community, for the society, and especially for themselves. I'm Yamini, your host, and today I'm sharing my own travel story with the hope that as you listen, it sparks thoughts about solo travel as a woman, whether you're a mom, an empty nester, or in any decade of your life. Now, before I begin, I would like to thank Laurendon Astley Memorial Fund for their unwavering support year after year in producing this podcast. Their mission is to bring awareness in the areas of the development of healthy teen relationships, the arts, and the community service. We are also very thankful for the support from the Wayland Cultural Council, a local agency which is supported by the Mass Cultural Council, a state agency. Let's begin. Travel. It's not just a journey. It's a secret sauce for your soul. It's like a spa day for your perspective minus the awkward spa music. But people, let's face it, traveling solo as a married woman with a kid is not a walk in the park. It's more like a strategic game of chess where societal pressure and family responsibilities are the opponents trying to checkmate you. Where one might assume it's better to plan together, take a vacation together as a family, than escape the mundane life of a married woman with a kid. But is it even possible to align all our schedules together? Why is it that as a woman, these solo trips are a thing of the past? Why don't we take more of these? Now, let me whisk you away a little into my life as a traveler, and only because we are talking about this trip to India. Growing up in India, traveling alone for a woman was frowned upon, if that's the right word. All the restrictions were put for her safety. Things are so different now. Growing up, my wanderlust was sparked by my dad, who believed that travel provides a unique education that books don't. And I totally credit him for instilling in me the love for travel. After retiring from his job, he has been on a roll with my mom, traveling the globe. Then I got married to my husband, who shares the love for exploration and road trips. So I got lucky. It was then when my travel experiences further expanded. Now let's dive into adventures that unfolded on my trip to India. And I would like to tell you that I have backpacked alone in India since I was little. So now you know that this was not the first time I was doing this. This was an impromptu visit. In December, a significant event prompted this journey, my niece's wedding. Picture this. My beautiful niece wanted to keep my visit a surprise for all. But as I entered the ceremony, some gave me big hugs, and then I found some people commenting and taunting me about leaving my husband and kid behind. I sort of took it as a joke and let it roll, and even justifying sometimes that my kiddo's school and extracurricular activities were on, and my husband couldn't get time off. Those justifications, no matter the truth, put me into more trouble. It led to further comments. Also, these comments were served both by men and women, but more by women. Men just wrapped it around, applauding my husband for letting me be myself, in short, rebellious in their definition. And women pitied my husband of who he was managing in life with. I want to be honest here. This was India, but if you think this doesn't happen here in the West or elsewhere, you're mistaken. I have found judgments everywhere. I mean, in circles where there's a comfort where people can say anything and they probably are not intentional about speaking about it. But, I have found that everywhere. I also want to be honest that it sort of took away my excited spirit of meeting so many relatives in one place. I mean, attending the big fat Indian wedding, you know what it means? It means that a lot of your extended family will be in one place, which should be super awesome in theory. Also, I hadn't really faced this ever attending a wedding alone in the past. This was a trip that prompted this travel story and made me reflect on why solo journeys are important for women. Not to be bogged down by all the comments, I decided to focus on what was important: the company of my niece, her gang, my parents, people who loved seeing me, and food. If you know me, you know how much I love food. So it's no coincidence that I was always found near the food table every morning. I'll definitely be sharing some pictures on the gram and Facebook for you all. Now, meeting these contrasting emotions, joy and disappointment, made my trip a weird ride of emotions where I didn't know what I was feeling and when. Little did I know, all of the emotional roller coaster was worth it because this trip would be sprinkled with unexpected encounters and revelations. Okay, before I get down to the adventure part, I wanted to ask you all, is this just me, or men are also subjected to questions when they travel alone? If the man has a kid, is he subjected to these questions and why he's traveling without family? And I would really like to know that. Okay, done with reflections. Now time to talk about adventures. The first leg of my flight from Boston to Istanbul felt like a family reunion at 30,000 feet. I ran into relatives. And trust me, finding family in the sky is as rare as a unicorn sighting. So I did what any good relative would do. I swapped seats and talked their ears off for a solid 4 out of 6 hours to Delhi. They were so sweet. They were sweet enough not to call for the air marshal. Now brace yourself for the celebrity encounters. I'm talking encounters with not one, but 2 world-renowned authors and 2 Indian actors. I won't spill all the juicy details here. Let's make it interactive. Maybe I'll dish out the deets on our social media pages. First up, a casual chat with a world-renowned author. During the layover in Istanbul, I asked for a charger, not knowing who he was. He was this unassuming guy in glasses. He said, "Sure, I have an Android charger." As I was charging my phone, I had to talk to him. I was quiet for a really long stretch of time and I can't do that. So I did. "So, what do you do?" He said, "I'm a writer. I'm preparing for a presentation." Very excited, I asked, "Oh my God, cool. What have you written?" He named a few books I had no idea about in that moment, although it sounded familiar. I charged my phone and we went our separate ways. When my dear husband woke up in the US, I told him about him and the books. He said, I'm not kidding, he said, "Is he still there? Go take a selfie with him. He is super famous." The time for selfies was gone though, so. But wait, there is more. At an airport in India, I had a brush with a billionaire author. Now, this one I recognize because I have read her books. Not letting that opportunity go, I took a picture with her, smiling ear to ear and holding a book a woman of Wayland wrote. about that book. I mean, about the book that A Woman of Wayland wrote. I'll be bringing that author this season, so stay tuned. So, about those authors who I met, you're going to find out their pictures, their names on the social media. And I'm doing this only to keep this interactive. Okay, next stop. The flight from Delhi to Mumbai, where I spot a familiar face again. An actor featured in some Amazon Prime series. But no one in the boarding queue recognizes him except me. I decide to write a cute note, hand it to the air hostess, and waited. Now, here's where it gets spicy. The air hostess looks at me like I'm making the first move on someone, and I'm like, hold up. Wait a second. Hold up. I just like his work. I'm just a fan, and he's a very good actor. Maybe you don't recognize him. I explain the situation, and she very happily agrees to deliver my note to this actor. Smooth move, right? Fast forward, he ends up in the cockpit, not for an emergency, but to chat. And here I am, blushing like a teenager, thinking to myself, oh my God, I hope I didn't creep him out. Oh my God. All sorts of thoughts in my head. And it was like very cute, actually. Short version. He appreciated the note, promised to cherish it, shared his email address. I deserved at least an email address. In my day and age, nobody gives me a phone number. They give me email address. But I'm very thankful that I met him. Now, again, another introspection. Do you think I would have done this if I had my husband and my kid around me? Do you think I would have taken this chance and told my husband? I would have just probably told, oh, husband, look at that. Like, I recognize him. That's it. The story would have died there if it wasn't for a solo travel. You know what I mean? It's important that you take solo travel and nobody is around you to stop you from doing things, even if it means silly things or something that brings you fun and, amazement in your life. Now, final stop in my trip was this destination wedding in Mumbai. And I spoke about that in the beginning. It was a beautiful wedding in a beautiful place. My niece looked amazing. As the wedding festivities unfolded, the trip raised questions about societal norms, family responsibilities, and the guilt associated with women traveling without their families, and eventually made me tell you this story. But look at the upside. At the cost of these questions, I have created stories and memories for a lifetime. And that, my friends, is how my trip to India turned into a Bollywood masala movie with a dash of family drama. Traveling alone may not always be easy, but the stories and experiences it brings are worth every challenge. But with challenges come tips. Also, traveling alone in India demands careful planning. I wanted to end with some tips from my experience, and these may be valid for other countries as well. Number 1, ensure your safety by booking a known brand hotel near the airport or closer to the places you want to visit. Number 2, always take an Uber or Lyft because tracking your trip becomes easy. Number 3, another one is to, share your ride with someone you trust or an Indian friend if available. I think a lot of us have an Indian friend. If not, you can reach me. 4, avoid taxis unless you're in a city where Uber does not operate, chances of which is low. 5, India's hospitality is incredible, and with the right precautions, solo travel can be empowering. Bargain the shit out of street markets. Sorry for swearing. And most important of all, make sure you have tummy meds in your bag. Until you have diarrhea, you're not eating right in India. Thank you so much for listening. Show your love, support as each episode gets dropped every month from now. Buckle up for a ride full of unexpected encounters, societal reflections, and the occasional GPS rerouting. Let's dive into the adventure together. Signing off, this is your host Yamini, and you were listening to the first episode of Women of Wayland Podcast Season 4.